Hello! So, if you've been following me a while, you probably know that months and months and months ago, I was gonna start making like regular videos about mental health. And then my life got a little bit dramatic and I decided that it's time for me to get back into it because that's something really important to me, and I feel like that's a conversation that I can't stop having in order to like normalize it and reach people who need to hear what I have to say. And I wanted to do more of a I'm not very structured, as you can tell. I'm just literally talking to my phone right now, but I think it would be helpful for me at least to have kind of the overarching theme. I was thinking that I could be directly giving advice and tips and things that I've learned from my therapist. I've gone to therapy every week for about 2 years now, and I can't even begin to stress how much it's helped me and how many things I've learned. And I know that it's really hard sometimes for people to find a good therapist, and it's just not accessible or financially possible for a lot of people. So I feel like maybe this could be another alternative. I just like look back on when I didn't go to therapy yet, and I think that seeing advice like this and someone talking openly about what they're learning and how they're putting what they're going through in therapy into their real life and bettering their life, I think that that could have been really helpful for me to see. So on that note, I was thinking that for this first video I would just kind of talk about therapy in general and getting help in general. So like I said, I know that it's not getting a therapist to see every single week isn't possible for everyone, but I think that when you're depressed or when you need help, I think everyone gets to a point where they have to do something about it. And when I reached that point, I ended up going, let's let this jet pass. Okay, so I had that point, I guess probably going on 4 years ago, maybe 3. I'm really bad at time, but I ended up going to what was called an IOP program, which was intensive outpatient program. And it was something that I went to 5 days a week from like 9 to 2, I think. And I was like super uncomfortable going to it at first. I did this through Kaiser, by the way. I don't know what other health insurances do, but it was basically like a class of me and like tons of other random people that I never probably would have interacted with in real life, like old ladies and stuff. We'd like sit down and like do like kind of an activity and like have like a lesson of the day, and you would meet with a doctor every day to like adjust your meds if you need to. And then we would have group therapy, which is something that I never thought that I would like connect with and get anything out of. I was like, I don't want to talk about my problems in front of a lot of strangers. Like I barely even want to talk about them in front of one person. But the longer and longer I went, like I realized that like in order for me to better my situation, I was gonna have to do something, you know? So I started speaking up, and I also just have this kind of inherent need to help people, so when others would talk about their problems, I'd speak up, and it would feel good to know that like they struggle as hard as I do, and like maybe I helped help them find a solution. Anyways, I'm not saying that it's necessary for you to find a program like this in order to take your mental health seriously. I'm just saying that that's what it took for me, because obviously I've been struggling with mental illness for longer, like since I was a teenager or maybe even a kid, but when I would try to like get help as a teenager, I just really, it was something that I just wanted to take a pill for and then not worry about or think about ever again. And I think that I tried a couple medications and would just go off of them and like wonder why I was so sad, you know, but not actually doing anything about it. And I think people get stuck in that limbo for a long time just because it's what they're used to and it's what's comfortable for them. And even if you want to change for the better, the process of changing is really uncomfortable. So that's why the IOP program was like helpful for me, because I was like being forced to think about it and do something about my mental health every single day. So even if you can't go to something like that, just start making it a priority to you. I'll link this below, but I always quote this Twitter thread that I found one time that has therapy alternatives. I actually found my therapist on one of these lists. I'm paying her normal rate now, but it's like a big list. It's called Open Source, I think. It's a big list of therapists that do appointments for reduced rates. I also think that like $30 a month therapy apps and stuff like that have a lot of potential to really help someone. I don't know, I can't make anyone download an app like that or get help, but I just wanted to tell you how much it helped me. Members of my family have experienced therapists that they like didn't click with that much, and I think that really is disheartening when you're finally doing something to help yourself and then you don't mesh with the therapist at all, or like they're stupid. I don't know, it's a hard reality to know that like some people are good at their job and some aren't, but you really can't give up and just think, oh, therapy didn't work for me, I hated it, because you never know. There could be the perfect person to talk to out there. After my IOP program, I started seeing this Kaiser therapist, and I really didn't mesh with her. And I think that I was still getting something out of it because I was going to it every week and making my mental health a priority, but she was really condescending, and at the time I was really struggling with borderline personality disorder, and I didn't know it because this therapist told me, there's no way you have that. Like, she said, there's no way I have BPD because I'm not vengeful and I'm not mean. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure you don't have to have all of those things, but all right. Then I ended up actually taking a test for ADD, and while I ended up having ADD also, they told me that the answers pointed very strongly towards BPD and that I should get that taken care of before I start focusing on doing anything about attention deficit disorder. So when I learned that, I was like, okay, this lady doesn't get it. And I ended up paying some more money because she was free with my health insurance, but I ended up paying more money to talk to someone who, like, would get it, you know? Like, I did a lot of research. I went on that open source website. I, like, found someone who specifically talked about BPD. And, I mean, it ended up being perfect. Like, I love my therapist so much. She's the queen. Anyway, so I have a bullet journal, and for every month, I always do a spread where I write things to bring up in therapy, and then afterwards, little things to remember. Like on this one I wrote, I was in mental hibernation and that's why having things to do makes me anxious, but it will get easier. Just like a little tip to remember about like what we talked about that day, you know, and some of them are more personal and like wouldn't apply to advice that I'd give you, but some of them I think like are important things to know. So I think taking things that I'm taking away from therapy and explaining them, I don't know, I feel like it could really help somebody, and I think that it'll also maybe help me be able to process those things a little better. So my idea for this like series, I guess, the ideas will probably come from just whatever I happen to be talking about, but if you have any ideas or things that, or topics that you want to know about, like I could have already learned about something that could apply, you know, and I'd love to know any of your ideas or questions. I know that this one was more of a general video, but I actually wrote down a couple other ideas for ones to do in the future. I think I was gonna do one about like what to, you know, the feelings that come up when an abuser dies, because I think that might be a little bit relevant right now, and that's something that I've talked about a lot in therapy. I couldn't find it because I remembered that the note is in my phone, so one second. Okay, my other ideas that I noted down were to do a video about codependency and how that can show up throughout someone's life, and also the caretaking aspect of a codependent relationship. I think that that is something that isn't talked about a lot and a lot of people could resonate with. The other one I noted down was something that I'm talking about a lot right now, which is anxiety and just the fact that I can acknowledge when it's happening and when I'm having anxious thoughts, but it's been hard for me to learn how to relax and tell myself that I don't have anything to worry about, just because I'm used to having those anxious feelings, you know. So I wanted to do a video on that too. So those are just some like little ideas, and I'd love to hear other ones that you might have, and I hope that this isn't too all over the place, and thank you for watching, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Bye!